Are you a yoga studio owner who's tired of chasing leads that don't convert? At the Sales Arms, they specialize in helping boutique fitness and wellness studios like yours build a revenue-generating systems that actually work. From filling classes to boosting retention, their team takes the stress out of the follow-up and gives you back the time to focus on what you really love most, teaching and serving your community. Right now, the Sales Arms are offering my listeners, the Yoga Biz Champ podcast listeners, a complimentary 45-minute strategy session where you'll walk away with clear steps you can implement immediately to grow your membership and your revenue. So book your session today at thesalesarms.com/yoga biz champ, and you can start selling with confidence. So again, that's the sales with an S at the end, arms with an S at the end, .com/yoga biz champ. Hey champs, Michael J here. Welcome back. Today I am joined by Chris Apaya and my good friend Stephanie Bradley from the Sales Arms. And we're digging into what every studio owner needs to hear for the upcoming 2026. And that's how to keep your studio fed with new clients and leads. We talk about why community always beats discounts, what it takes to build a real follow-up process, and how to guide clients with a prescriptive class recommendations that actually help them succeed. And just as important, we're going to dive into how to balance software and automations with the human touch, so you can create a customer journey that feels personal while still being efficient in your studio. So if you're ready to stop leaving leads behind and start building a consistent pipeline of new clients, this episode is just for you. Let's jump in.
It really isn't just solely based on price, right? There are so many different factors that come into play that say to somebody, well, I'm going to take more of, my income and put it toward, this business. In our cases, in these fitness studios, right? And I think it is so many more people now looking for community, somebody to hold them accountable, right?
Yeah.
And experience, because we're continuing to go down such a digital route that there's less and less time spent with people,
Yeah.
right? And I think people are longing for that in a bigger way, and they find it in fitness because it's one of the only things where you're getting a lot of community that isn't centered around alcohol and partying.
Yeah.
And I think a lot more people are getting a lot more conscious of the effects of alcohol, right? And all the other things it leads to, when often they're looking for the experience of and the people that they spend time with. It is often associated around those events that have alcohol. But if you could sub out that place, the bar, for a bar or yoga studio, right, with those same people, you often get that high that you were looking for.
The dopamine, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. When it comes to the community and being with your people and having fun and good laughs, but all centered around a healthier lifestyle.
Yeah. Hi, Steph.
There she is.
We're already rolling here.
I was in the waiting room waiting for somebody to let me in. I actually got in 10 minutes early. I was like, look at me. I got my stuff together.
Well, you're here. We're already just started chatting, but hey, welcome you guys. I have from the Sales Arms, who are a sponsor of this podcast. Thank you, Chris. So we've got Chris Apaya from the Sales Arms and my good friend Stephanie Bradley, who was on the last episode. And I've got them in today to talk about leads. So welcome, you two.
Thanks for having us.
Excited to be here. Always nice to speak, chat, and share insight.
Yeah, we might even just leave what we were just talking about in the podcast there, Chris, because we were talking about the community feeling and what people will pay for and the dopamine rush that people get from working out and leaving feeling good. I'm kind of curious though, Chris, how do you think that translates in the yoga world? I feel like the yoga world could learn a little bit from the gym world as far as marketing and getting new people in. And I feel like we're sometimes a little bit shyer than a gym would be.
Yeah, I think because, with yoga, it is a softer practice. It's really about, being mindful. But in that, right, it's something that people are searching for. And I think being able to, like we were speaking about,
Yeah.
associate group experience with the practice and speak to what it's going to be, being in a room with several people, looking to be mindful, where it takes you as a group,
Yeah.
and having more of that instead of just focusing on the individual, coming in and what they're going to get. Obviously, that's important. But like we're saying, a lot of people are searching for that community, vibe, somewhere where they can, get that dopamine of being in a group. But when it comes to yoga and it being softer, right, how can we speak to that? And I think just really talking about what it's like to be in a mindful group, right, and not being alone.
Yeah. Steph?
I think you hit on something, Chris, when you were talking. My kids have always told me that they thought I could benefit from yoga. I'm not really sure where they were going with that, but I think nowadays with people paying as much attention to their mental health as their physical health, like where can I go for movement?
Yeah.
That will also give me the groundedness with the people that I know support me to be still, to be vulnerable. And I think it kind of ties into what we talked about yesterday with what is it that's going on in your community that would speak to your community that you could get involved in to go ahead, like Chris said, and find what that third space of people look like. Because some people might be drawn to your community by the community and not the movement aspect at first. Like, oh, I found my people, let me go see what they do, type of thing.
Yeah. So lead generation, what I'm seeing right now is the community studio. I think there's a difference between the franchise type studio and the community studio, but I'm seeing the leads have got a little bit harder than they used to be to get. I'm not sure if you're seeing that, but I'm finding it's more of a saturated market for some of them. You've got big class pass areas, you've got lots of abilities to do multiple types of fitness things. And so I'm finding some of the community studios are finding it a little bit harder to cut through that now and get new people in on intro offers. I'm kind of curious what you're seeing in the world, and then maybe we can brainstorm that a little bit for the studios out there.
I think you hit on it when you spoke to saturation, right? I think we all, especially the individuals like us who have been in the industry for, 10 plus years, right? We come from a place where originally we were forced to be out there meeting the people, showing people our business in a very organic way. And with the advance of the internet, social media, and advertising in that platform, we have gotten really complacent in using digital ads as the driver of lead generation. And, you can understand why that happened because when it all started, it was the greatest thing for all of us to get leads because nobody was there, right? It was new. And now, because of the level of saturation in the industry, right? And then the guidance of all the consultants and all the people telling you, you need to, run ads to get leads. It's a very saturated market and area to promote your business, right? You have to think there are X amount of yoga studios within a 5 to 10 mile radius of my facility, right? And that's just yoga. Now let's think HIIT, Pilates, big box gym, the list goes on. All of those places are being told and guided to advertise and get your leads through digital. And because of that, right, like we said, it is saturated and you're speaking to the same people, right?
Yeah.
And it becomes a battle of often, price is how people are trying to be most attractive, with these ads. And you get a consumer now that has gotten fed 7 ads, right,
Yeah.
for 7 different yoga studios.
2 weeks, $49.
Yeah, with only one way to go, but to say, Well, how do I figure out which one's the best? Try all of them, right? So the consumer's going to all these different places before they even make the decision. So the sales cycle for the first location is that much longer, right? And for everybody, it's that much longer. And then it's a matter of how does that person decide? And it's often through the community that they're going to feel and they're going to be a part of versus the price.
Yeah.
And it just makes it that much harder for all of the business owners to be successful with that one lead, right? This is what it is across the board with all of us that are doing digital ads, right? And this is why we're not seeing the level of conversion that we once saw that we're getting coached to do. And I think if we go back to the more organic of lead generation, we'll probably start seeing the results that we were seeing, 10 years ago.
Yeah. I often say to existing yoga studios, you got to go back to that original feeling when you first opened, and you got out in the community. And I feel like you can't let that go. When I had my studio, I did the beat every single month. I did a beat around my village. I walked around grassroots, posters on my brochures in the health food store. And I feel what you just said there about everybody's trying to market online. So agreed. And they're all marketing one thing. They're marketing their intro offer at a price. And I think going back to what we talked about kind of before the intro, it's like, let's start talking about how you're going to feel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's start talking about what you're going to experience, right? Where you'll be in 2 weeks because you were doing this consistently, right? What the results may come from, right?
Yeah.
The friends you may make, right? All of the other things that you get from fitness, I think, are what the consumer is really looking to understand as the differentiator amongst all of the studios that are advertising to them, right? Because if you all have an intro offer at a free to discounted rate, what makes you different, right? If you're all offering yoga. And if you speak to the community, what you're going to get out of it, who you're going to be in 1 month, 2 months to a year, and give people something to look forward to and get excited about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You will have more people that are going to choose your facility versus the other who's just sticking to automation, AI, digital ads, and we're going to hope for the best.
Yeah. And also getting in front of new eyeballs. Quite often that people get very complacent, yoga studios you're listening to, just doing an ad in Canva and throwing it up on your social media. Unless you're paying ads, those people already know about you, right? I feel like you've got to get sometimes outside of those areas to get in front of new eyeballs.
I think, the question that, studio owners should be asking themselves in conjunction with how can I grow my membership, right? I think it's the same result that you're going to look for, but phrasing it more as how can I grow my community?
Yeah.
What can I do to have more people tell more friends about this, have more people that work and live in my community, they want to bring, their family together here to build something bigger than fitness, right? How can I grow my community? Not just my membership, right? Because if you can grow your community and that's the place people want to be, your membership will in turn grow organically and naturally with that.
Yeah. Steph?
I want to back up a step because when you talk about people or ads and leads, I think, because I fell into this category, that if you're going to run ads and look at your sales process, you have to be 2 feet in. You can't just hire someone, give them a 2-minute elevator speech, expect them to run and not monitoring what are the leads that are coming in. Am I getting any hits? Are we A/B testing what this ad looks like? Yeah. Is it targeting the people that I want to target? Because you are going to be paying for the lead. So do you have the right person or ad agency doing those leads for you? Then if you have leads coming in, but you don't have anybody who is following up with the leads, then obviously you're looking at it as though I wasted money because there's not a process to do. So I think if you are in the position of wanting to run ads or evaluating that looks like, you have to be 2 feet in of making sure you have the right person or ad agency. What are you saying? Are you A/B testing it to see what your market will respond to? who is following up with the leads, and then measuring what that ROI is at the end to see, is this worth what I'm doing, kind of thing.
And Steph, I think you really hit it on the head in terms of like the next step of it, right? Is, we're talking about advertising, digital, or, grassroots, all of that. And you can do all of those things and those leads can come in, but then what are you doing with them, right?
Yeah.
And I think often the people that are running these studios are just doing, 1, 2, maybe 3 points of contact. And those 3 points of contact is maybe one phone call, a text message, and an email. You don't get anything back from that, and it's a dead lead, and you've chalked it up to poor leads now, right? And that's not going to get you anywhere, right? So if you don't have the process to follow up with the leads that you're getting in a highly effective way, right, to determine whether or not it really is a cold lead is important. And most studios drop the ball there, right? They're all willing to spend on ads to get a lead, but they're not willing to spend on the professional who's going to make sure those leads work correctly.
Yeah, right. Plus the customer experience.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that leads into what you guys do a little bit. And so once you've got that lead, what do you guys do with them?
You have to search for engagement, right? And I say engagement because it's not about selling your studio right away, right? A lot of times with these leads, it's really understanding, first of all, is there somebody on the other side, right? So text message, phone call, email as the top ways to communicate.
Yeah.
And doing that at least, 10 times to get to somebody. We say, 20 to 30 points of contact is more than enough to determine whether or not a lead is real or not, right? So making sure you're getting those points of contact in are the most important thing, and getting them to just say hello.
Yeah.
Once you've gotten somebody to just engage and they're there, then you can go into building rapport and pitching your business. I challenge people to get funny with their first messages, get original, right? Because we're fighting a world of automation and AI, and the consumer these days tend to think automatically that it's a bot speaking to them, and they don't engage as they would as if it was their friend speaking to them, right? So doing your best to get engagement through generic hellos and something that proves that you're a human is the first step when it comes to the lead management process.
Yeah.
I don't know why this jumped up, but I'm going to share it because maybe it'll resonate with someone. When you were talking about, Chris, how important consistency is.
Yeah.
And I think about like the world of competition, because it doesn't just apply to our industry. Like, it is the business model of Burger King to go open up across the corner, the intersection of every McDonald's. If you go down the street, you have a CVS across the street from a Walgreens. What is it for the consumer if the proximity is so close? Why am I choosing one over the other?
Yeah.
What is it that I am choosing one or the other? Because all of those are going to show up consistently. So to speak to the saturation, I think that you go back to how you want to be communicated with is how you communicate with other people. And to your point, Michael, someone's initial introduction to you might not be through your movement classes. It might be through a retreat. It might be through a yoga teacher training.
So different doorway.
It might be through a community event.
Yeah.
They might be intimidated, and it's like, you know what? I'm not ready to put on some spandex right now and go like lay down next to sweaty people, but I would like to be involved in this community thing because that speaks to me. And that generally leads to, I found my group of people. What else can I do to make them more sticky?
I quite often talk about with studio owners creating different doorways in. There's an intro offer as a doorway in. A beginner 101 8-week series is a great doorway in where you can paint the picture of what it looks like in the future. But also a workshop, like in our world, like a sound bath relaxation. Mm-hmm. Like quite often a non-yoga person will sign up for something like that. Mm-hmm. And then I'll say to my studio owners, did you sign them up for your intro offer while they were in the studio after they finished and feeling good, right? So I think leads don't always have to be your one offer. There can be different ways in.
Well, that's where, the building rapport and nurturing the lead is so important and getting a real understanding of the individual's why, right? Because
Yeah.
people come to these facilities also with the understanding or the belief that you as the studio owner or general manager are the professional and you're going to guide them to
Yeah.
success, right?
Yeah.
So you as that professional to be able to guide them to success, you have to understand what they're looking to get out of it, what their goals are, what they believe their capabilities are, and you have to prescribe what you believe is going to be best for them.
Yeah.
Don't allow them to, tell you what's going to be best, right? Because you're the pro, right? And when
Yeah.
you present like the professional and you have a plan, the client is that much more inclined to be intrigued, stay, follow the plan, because a lot of people don't want to think so much about their workout routine and how to get to the goals. They just want to be told what to do and they're going to follow it and do it.
Yeah. So when you're saying prescribe, one of the things I love a studio owner to do is print out a Monday through Sunday visual calendar, and on the front desk with a highlighter say, oh, what's your goal? And when are you available? If you ask those two questions, and then highlight, you're going to love these classes. Like, so I think that's what you're talking about, right? Like painting a picture of how they can feel successful on their trial.
Exactly. You're taking the information that they're giving you, and then, like you said, you're painting the picture of how they're going to be successful, who they're going to like that works within the business,
Yeah.
why, right? On what days and times, right? And they're like, okay, perfect, right? Like you're hearing all of these things. It becomes easy for you to say yes, right? In sales, they say you want to get your client to say yes 3 times before you close them, right? And the best way to do that is reiterating their goals in relation to what you can offer them within your business, right? You said you wanted to come, 3 times a week, right? Yes. Okay, awesome. And you said that the afternoons or evenings are going to be best for you, right? Yes. And you said that, your biggest goal is to really focus on being mindful and just relax, right? Yeah. Okay, perfect.
I love that.
Well, then Michael J is going to be the guy for you, right? And like it just goes into yes, right? And just to take his class, all you have to do, and to do it 2 times a week, is take our A class monthly, right? It's perfect for twice a week. If you exceed that, we could talk about unlimited done. But I think with everything that you've told me, this is going to be perfect for you. Let's get you started with that. Being assumptive, being prescriptive, right? All of that and getting the person to get excited with you makes for a very easy close. But it shouldn't be looked at as being salesy, right? It's being a concierge, it's being great customer service in the business, right? Like,
No, I love that though. I hope everybody just listened to that, because that was just a conversation, right? But you handled the conversation. Such a good tip for folks. I hope that they really listen. Hey, studio owners, are you tired of guessing what works for marketing? Our sponsor, Offering Tree, has a free resource just for you, the ultimate marketing checklist for yoga studios. This checklist gives you a clear roadmap to attract more students and grow your brand. Get your free checklist today and stop stressing about marketing. And don't forget, listeners get a special discount on Offering Tree's all-in-one business software. That's 50% off your first 3 months or 15% off your first year. Find the link to your free checklist and exclusive discount in my show notes. To that one, yeah. The prescribing, it's a great way. In a beginner yoga course, I work with my owners on this. It's not just about presenting the course. It's also presenting, what does this look like after this class? After this course, what does your life look like carrying on with the studio? And I think that's the same thing. And if in that intro offer where you're getting them to say yes to multiple times a week, you're getting them to experience the menu.
And if you take out the guesswork into what day they should come, who's going to be best for them, and how long they should be doing this to get to whatever the goal was, it's a very easy, well, okay, right?
Yeah.
And in many cases, your competition isn't doing that, because that's where I see
Yeah.
majority of the studios that are with us that are, crushing it, excelling, high revenue studios. They take the guesswork out of being successful within their studio in a way that most don't, because they are just so caught up with, I got the new member, now I have to find the next new member, versus I got the new member, now how do I keep them as a member forever?
Yeah. And then it gets ignored. I call it with my studio owners daily detective work. Like every day, somebody, I mean, yes, you should have the automations with SMS. Yes, you should have the automations with email. But I believe there should be eyeballs. And now we've got automations for tasks, so that can help here. But I believe there should be eyeballs watching the customer journey. And every single one of them, I hope everyone's listening to this, every single customer is precious.
Everyone is precious, right? And you just touched on it with where software is going. If you just take the time to do it, you could set up automations and tasks that alert you to be your eyeballs on all of your clients, right? It's going to let this person has been a member for a month, but they've only taken 2 classes, or this person is a member and they've been gone for 10 days. Reach out. The automation and the tasking can be that assistant that you need to do the necessary personalized work that sets you apart from your competition. But a lot of people are very lazy with their software. They don't tend to do the work to fully understand its capabilities, to understand how they can use it to their advantage. And they end up only using, a quarter of the capabilities of their software. And it leads to lack of production, lack of results. You get angry with your software provider because you're not seeing the results that somebody else that's on the platform is getting, and it's all tied in.
Yeah. Well, the software can really help now with the leads. There's a lot of softwares now that are, going back to the lead gen a little bit, where they're integrating now with Meta and Google into the software. So for win backs and things like that, that is fantastic with your existing database.
100%. And that's what I was saying, with the software getting better and better, the integrations and the partnerships continuing to grow, the ability to nurture leads, convert leads, build rapport is getting easier and easier. But the understanding of how to do it with what you have isn't there. And I think it's not all on the studio owners. I think there's definitely some blame to be put on the software companies as well, in how they continue to educate their client in using their platform to be successful.
Yeah.
But it comes back to, why we started the sales arms, right? Often the people that are running these businesses, that are opening these studios, aren't techie people that are looking to be behind a computer. They're not salespeople who are looking to,
passionate yogis mostly in my world.
Yeah, exactly, right? And it comes back to making sure you have the right people in place to make sure you're successful, right? It starts with your tech, right? And making sure you have great software to run your business. And then it's your team. Besides you, if it's not going to just be you, they're going to be there to be the lead nurturer or be the community liaison. Who's going to do that on your team? And then training, right? We call it our 3 T's at the sales arm: tech, team, training, right? When you have all of those in line, you keep those, the front focus of running your business, and you tend to start to operate as a true business, right? And a real business owner versus somebody who opened something for a passion and is hoping for the best. And we see that a lot in the early stages of studio ownership. It takes that 4 months after the grand opening, it's lulled down, like you were saying before, that grand opening energy, right? All of that dies down, and then you start to see the holes in the business. I think it's very important for people to take a step back and really focus on that and lock that in the beginning, and make sure you have those processes so that you are building a business that allows you to be consistent in the areas that create amazing customer experience, which leads to conversion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think the main thing that a studio owner has control of is the customer experience. And it should be the sole focus. So tell folks what you do in this area, because I think Marnie on my podcast from Home Studio is a great example of somebody that loves yoga, passionate, did not want to be dealing with the sales of any kind. And so she uses you guys. And so that's where you guys step in to help studios, right?
Yeah, I mean, so with us, like we really focus on being the human touch within the lead and member management within your business. But we also, with that, bring a level of expertise and experience that allows you to have somebody that's working in your business that is a professional in lead, member management, prospect nurture, and has eyes across the country into what's working. And we really become an advisor to our client in helping them guide what's going to be best for them, right? So while we are doing the dirty work of making the phone calls, sending the text, and building the nurture, we're also doing a lot on the back end. And hey, let's set up this automation so that, as soon as a lead comes in, we have a message that goes out that sounds natural and puts the speed to lead conversation to bed, right?
Yeah.
Let's look at your member management cadence, right? Let's put AI or maybe automation in here to help you retain your clients and let you know when to come in and be that personalized touch, right? Let us know when to come in and be that personalized touch. And when you do these things, when you get into the nuance of the setup, it allows you to become more efficient in your day-to-day processes. It is tough to start. It is tough to build. But once you build it, it's just a matter of fine-tuning it and it rolls for you, right? So
Yeah.
being able to assist our clients in not just the actual work of making the phone calls, building the rapport,
Yeah.
but being a guide on how to best use your software, how to best set up automation so that it creates for a seamless customer experience, how to build and train AI to work within your studio and not feel as if you have turned your business over to a robot versus having that personal touch there, right? So we're doing all of that for our clients, depending on, how many people are working in their business, what their strengths are,
Yeah.
what software and platforms they're using. Because when we work with you, we work within your platforms, right? We're not asking you to change anything, right? We actually want to teach you how to best use what is there. And in the instance that what you're using isn't, comparable to the top yoga studios, fitness and wellness studios that we're working with,
Yeah.
we're going to give you suggestions and introduce you to partners that have platforms, software, and teams that are willing to do the work to get you to where you need to be.
Hey champs, I want to spotlight our podcast sponsor and someone I consider both a friend and a trusted expert, Mitch McGinley from Boutique Fitness Brokers. He's been on my podcast multiple times. He's a former yoga studio owner just like us. Mitch and his wife successfully sold their studio just like I did, and now he helps others do the same. So if you've heard my conversation with Jill Agonias on this podcast, she sold her studio for well over asking price thanks to Mitch's guidance. Whether you're thinking about selling your yoga studio for top dollar or you're looking to buy an existing studio, and let me tell you, that can be a great head start instead of building from scratch. Mitch is your go-to guy, seriously. He understands the ins and outs of the yoga industry, from valuation to finding the right buyer or seller. Plus, he's been right where you are, so he gets it. I'm always talking about building a profitable business that can be sold or carried on. My former studio is in its 22nd year now, and it's under its third owner, and I consider that a legacy. So if you want to explore your options for buying or selling, head over to yogabizchamp.link/BFB to book a no obligation chat with Mitch himself. And trust me, it's never too early to start planning for your yoga studio's future success. Again, that's yogabizchamp.link/BFB.
What you're using now.
Yeah. So then the customer experience, sometimes like you can put all this money into leads, you can put all this grassroots effort into leads, you can get them in, and then it can be a crappy class, a crappy teacher, a crappy time slot. I kind of feel like those are the three magic ingredients to a class is teacher, time, and style. If you get those three right, that's the best thing ever. But what happens when you get them all in and then do you have to be really honest with them like I am?
So this is the toughest parts about what, we do here. I try to be so transparent about this, in discovery calls. I do every discovery call for everybody that's interested in working with the sales arm still, although my advisors say I need to stop that. I think it is really important to really understand each individual, what got them to, opening these studios and what's driving them today. But it's hard for people to look in the mirror sometimes and really say, what do I have to do to be better, right? And I think one of the things that people love a lot about working with us is that we're willing to have those hard conversations with you. And when we're not converting, I teach my entire team, we need to ask why. We need to dig even deeper.
Yeah.
And the reason why for us is that's important is because we're the first scapegoat, right? People are going to point the finger at us and say, oh, you're just not a good salesperson, right? So if somebody isn't converting, we need to come with the reasons that that person gave us. And whether or not you want to believe it,
detective work,
right? We're just the messenger. But the question is, what are you going to do now with that information to deliver even, what is necessary to get somebody to convert? So I think there's something that a lot of studio owners should put into play is feedback, surveys, a system of asking why, right? And that's not just, the people that aren't converting. But the people that are there, right? Your best members, the people that have been there for a lifetime. Why? Right? What is it? So that you know exactly how to, cater to your community. If you're here to just do what you want to do, well, then don't be mad when you're not converting because you're doing what you want to do and it doesn't fit your client, right? But if you're doing everything in your power to create what is best for the people that are interested in interacting with your business, well, then those people are going to, one, appreciate being heard, two, speak to other people about it, bring people. And now the one person that converted is going to become 3, 4 people. And that is the lifeblood of the most successful studios we work with, the referrals, right? And it comes from the community, the personalization, and listening and doing for your community.
Yeah, love it. Steph, any thoughts there?
Just to tap on, because I learned this from Chris, I think why the lead nurture process is so much more important than it ever was is because people are taking longer to make a decision with all of the saturation. Was reading the industry report where it said that it usually takes 5 to 6 classes for someone to feel sticky. So what can you do in the process? Not only to create some sort of ladder where it might be they have one class that they take, how do we get them just a little bit more interested to take more classes kind of thing? And also, I know a lot of times we talk about milestones and the milestones are celebrated like the big numbers, like, oh, congratulations, you made 100 classes. Well, if somebody's at 100 classes, they're sticky. What does it look like for class 1, class 5, class 10, when they really need your support to get going and know not only are they, because you work out sometimes and you love it and sometimes you're just like, okay, well, that didn't work. So you need that extra support within a community to kind of bring you along until you do get sticky. So it's all about what can I do to support?
And if you're selling a 2-week pass and they haven't come in the first couple of days, that's a quarter of their journey gone.
And that happens because you're leaving it up to the consumer to book their classes, figure out what's best for them, do it on their own, right? The real work in these studios, I say it all the time, is once somebody signs up, right? Like most cases now, because of the digital and all of the stuff, like people know you're there, they know what you offer, they see your website, they know your price, right? If they came in they made a conscious decision to choose you over somebody else within the space. Your sole job should be getting them to stay. And then from there, how can I get you to stay for a year? Right. And if you're just thinking, how can I get you to stay? And you're not actually doing anything, creating something, delivering a roadmap, then it's just hopes and dreams. And most people are not delivering that roadmap. They're just saying, yeah, come take class.
Yeah.
If you do it often, you'll be great. Right? Like it doesn't work like that.
Yeah. I feel like, you're from the gym world originally and now working with yoga studios, but I feel like we talked a little bit before, what can yoga studios learn from the gym world? And I think that's not being as shy, right? That is painting that picture, but then actually getting them to take action. Let me get that booked for you right now.
Yeah. And what's tough is that often, if you're doing this right and you're doing it well, there's not enough of you to be able to have these conversations with all of the new people coming in, right? And it goes back to setting up process, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Who is your backup? Who is going to be the person that's focusing on the prospects and nurturing them? Who's going to be the person that's focusing on the members and nurturing them, right? Making sure you're putting processes in place so that you can deliver to everybody. And that's the problem. Until it becomes an issue or it's too late, is when people want to start scrambling to put these processes in, and they're operating from a frustrated, have to decide fast place versus a cool, calculated
Yep.
position to help grow their business, right? And I think people just need to really take a step back and understand the days of if we build it, they will come and stay are long gone. And like it really is, there's a lot of effort, emotional effort that goes into running these studios, building community and keeping community
Yeah.
that a lot of people weren't understanding of when starting this journey.
Yeah.
And they need to start taking it a lot more seriously.
Yeah. Awesome. Getting people in, that problem of getting new people in. Can you give any real tactical ways that you're seeing working that might be a little different than what people are doing from the past, or going back to the grassroots things, making community connections, creating your own events? What are you seeing really working out there in our world?
It's really going back to the old school, right? Shaking people's hands, going out in your community,
I love it. Yeah.
and asking people to come in, persuading people, getting people excited to come to your business, and not just random people, right? Your fellow business owner, right? Their staff, the people that are going to talk to more people within the community, right? Start there, build the relationship with the other businesses and establishments within your community.
Yeah.
Stop focusing on their clients and focus on the people that work within them, because you know that they're within, walking distance of your facility, and after work they can come by, or they can come by before work, whatever it is. Get the people that work within your community to fall in love with the business that you've created, and they will do the work of telling all of those that interact with them within the community, what's making them feel so good, what's making them smile so much bigger these days. And they're going to tell more people about your business, right?
Yeah.
And I think people are often going the grassroots route,
Yeah.
really just thinking about me, right? Like,
Yeah.
hey, I'm out here. I would love to get more people in my business. How can we work together? Versus, I want you to have a great day. I want you to feel good all the time. I know you're down the road here 5 days a week, right? Why don't you come by and just get a sweat with us? Get in here. It's on us, right? And build a relationship with those around you so that they talk about it.
Yep.
And then last thing is, if you have a front desk, most of us do, and if there's somebody behind it, get them out from the front desk, get a folding table, just put it in the front of your facility, outside of the facility, so that anybody that walks by gets to have an opportunity to have a conversation with somebody who works within your business.
I love it.
They don't have to walk through those doors because you're out front of those doors with a huge smile on your face, welcoming them, asking how their day is going, and just getting engagement. You're just getting engagement with people.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, wow, you're asking me how my day is? And then from there, wait, what are you doing out here? And now we're getting into what's going on. You invite them in.
Because walking through those doors is intimidating sometimes too.
And like we were talking about, when you have that personal connection,
Yeah.
that person now feels accountable to the conversation that they had. The chance of them no showing or not coming is so much more less because it's tied to something real. And we're so far away from the real these days that people don't realize that that's what people want and need.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, the best sales job I had done on me was Desiree Gilliard.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. She owned a gym in Pasadena. I think they sold it. And my partner's in Pasadena. So I met her at an event. By the time I'm not a big fan of free. However, when I got home, I got an email from her. I've set you and your partner up with accounts under your email. Here's your password. This is how you log in, and go in and change your password. And I've put 3 classes in under there. And I'm like, that was such a personal reach out and connection. It's like, well, how can I say no to that? Like, she just made it so easy for me. And that was one of the best I've ever had.
Would you take the initiative to guide the experience?
Yep.
One, it makes the client feel that much better, right? You're talking about that now.
Yep. It's like, wow.
It's so much easier to just be mindless and just do what's necessary to be successful.
Yeah.
There's a reason why most people fail in their first 30 to 60 days in fitness. And it's often because they don't have the motivation, the guidance and direction, and the understanding of how to be successful. And that's what we're there to do. And that's what we're there to be. And I think more of us studio owners and general managers have to step into our doctor role and tell.
Yeah. The prescription. I love the prescription.
Prescribe, what needs to be done to fix whatever it is that person is looking for.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, absolutely do a prescription pad, like a doctor's prescription pad.
It seems gimmicky.
No.
But if you did that and you put the 3 qualifying questions that you like to ask any client on there, it creates process. It creates consistency.
Yeah.
It allows for you and your team members to ask the same things, do the same things to become second nature, and it creates an experience that, again, is something that people really enjoy and are longing for, right? So, like I tell people, don't shy away from something like that. Instead of a questionnaire, but like be cute about it. A prescription pad has our qualifying questions, has which packages you think are best on it for them. You have them speak their goals, you write them down, so now you're understanding exactly what that person needs. It makes it easy for you to repeat later what their wants, needs are, right, and get those 3 yeses. And then it clearly has, your memberships on it that fit that prescription. Boom, here you go, right? On the back, you write their next class times that you helped book them for. Now they have something physical to hold on to. I mean, these things still work. These things are what people need.
Yeah. But you have something to go back to then. Hey, you said you were going to come to these classes because you wanted to feel this way. Notice you haven't booked. Let's get you in, right? So that gives you something to come back to because you know their why.
And I think for yoga studios, right, in a softer pitch and sell environment, this speaks to their clients even more so than it would in a gym and HIIT facility because it tends to be faster paced, quick, right?
Yeah. If you're looking for stress relief.
Exactly. Whereas in yoga, like people want to go a little bit deeper. They want to get a little bit higher level on what they're looking for. It allows for that experience that most people want out of the yoga studio, right? And if you add that in, it's a nice touch. It shows you care, right? It's not going in one ear and out the other, right? There's a lot to it. So there's definitely, one thing that we could suggest that we just came to right now. Get something that allows you to write down the person's wants, needs, their goals, and prescribe what you're going to do for them.
Yep. And get them to say yes 3 times. That's my big takeaway from today. Yeah.
Prior to the close, right? Prior to your presentation of whatever you're prescribing, right?
Yeah.
Get them to say yes 3 times so that it's easy to say yes to whatever that prescription is.
I love it. I want to say thank you because a lot of people hold everything back, right? What I love about you and Stephanie is like you're so good at your jobs with the people, but you don't hold stuff back. You just give really good, useful information. So thank you so much.
No problem for me, and I say it all the time, we're not reinventing the wheel over here, right? All of what we do and what I do is purely from experience in the job, and anybody can get that. So let me tell you what I've experienced and do with it what you will. And it's my hope that if you can't do it, you call me and I can help you out. And I can help you out personally to actually get that work done.
And speaking of which, how do people find you?
You can find us thesalesarms.com, Instagram. We are The Sales Arms. I am Regular Chris on Instagram if you want to follow my fitness journey.
Which is fun and inspiring to watch. I watch you. It's like you commit every single day. I'm working out. Here it is.
Yeah, it's all about being able to inspire, guide people, give them insight into what's going to make them the best version of themselves. I do that in my fitness. We do that in our business. And for me, it's important, like I said earlier, to take the time out to hear, what's driving somebody, what their wants are, what their needs are, and being able to prescribe, what I believe is going to be best. And that's why I do every discovery call for the Sales Arms. So when you are putting your information in on our website, it goes right to me. There is no automation that is responding. I am responding to you personally because it's important to treat every person, every prospect, like the individual that you want them to be within your business. So I might not be doing it in the studio per se in this case, but I bring that same energy that I teach and I speak about, like that we talk about on this podcast, to my appointments at the Sales Arms.
And speaking of being a sponsor, if you go to the link in my show notes, there is right now, let's make note that this is going to be probably October 2025. So promotions may change. But right now I have a link that gives, I think it's to a 45-minute consultation with you guys. So I think that's the current promotion. So anybody goes to my show notes, you will get that link directly to Chris. And Stephanie, you've been very quiet today for a change.
I'm going to take that as a positive. Chris goes in a role and you flow with it. You flow with it.
Sometimes she lets me take the center stage.
She's in charge though. We all know.
We all know who runs the show around here.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Okay, I want to say thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. And again, also for being a sponsor of this podcast and believing in us and connecting to our audience. And I'm just really pleased to be affiliated with you guys. So thank you.
Michael J., we love what you're doing. Thank you for having us. And anytime you feel that our insight can be beneficial and helpful to your audience, know that we are here, willing and ready to share.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Bye. Thanks for tuning in, champs. If you've enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe and leave a review. It really helps me out a lot. And if you're ready to open your own studio or grow your current one, visit yogabizchamp.link/podlink. Again, that's yogabizchamp.link/podlink to book your free strategy call with me and explore my Starter Studio and Grow a Studio packages. And you'll also get access to all of my free Yoga Biz Champ resources there. And you can also check out the video content on YouTube for more insights and follow me on all social media platforms at Yoga Biz Champ. See you next time.